Hey, good morning and welcome. I know it's Thursday already. The short week, the holiday week. You lose a day. Feels like I've lost about 5 days already. Just crazy times we're living in. Just really, when you think about it, amazing all the things that we've been dealing with, from COVID to, all the attacks on pipelines and all of those things. I mean, planned event or coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. So, that's just my spin on it. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. We had a nice profit-taking day today. I strongly suggest you buy this dip. We will talk about jobless claims, jobless claims, yes, and ADP. Tomorrow we'll get the government employment number. Today we got ADP. I was actually disappointed. Now, they acted like it was, hey, great, awesome. It really wasn't that awesome. I mean, it was just under 1 million. But I figured with, half the states are getting rid of the $300. I actually thought it would be better than that. But nonetheless, 900-some thousand jobs, 2/3 of them waiters, waitresses, but what they call the bar, restaurant, hospitality. And again, makes sense, right? That makes sense. That's where a lot of the jobs were lost to begin with. So we'll touch on those numbers. But this show is going to be different. We're going to do a little special on the border today. I had a very close contact who is in, I'll just say this, he's in the business. He was at the Yuma border crossing last week. He actually came to see me yesterday, and he had taken pictures, described all these things. Now, and I'm going to share with you, I was blown away. And it's bad, but you really don't know. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't want to know. And what I mean by that is I don't want to know the horrible details, because it truly is savage. And I know, and probably not that many people listening to this show think that anybody can come to this country, just let them in. That's not what's happening. You are sadly mistaken. And I know this I know this, I believe this. If you would have seen what I saw yesterday and the story my friend told me, you would demand that something be done. This isn't, hey, these people are just walking or whatever from wherever country they may be and just coming in and everything's wonderful. That's not what's happening. Not even close. This is a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions. This is a major drug operation. Just to put it simply, human trafficking of epic proportions. I mean, child rape and all of it. That's what's really happening. And so we're going to talk about it because I want to educate you, because this is the first time I've ever had firsthand knowledge from somebody that I know very, very well. I've known this person for, I don't even know, 15 years, give or take, a long time. Showing me the pictures, showing me the access. And I'm going to share his story with everybody today. So that is kind of a little different show today, but nonetheless, I think very, very important. Because you know what? Listen, this is outside of what I just said, which is horrible. This is a dollar and cents thing as well. The numbers are overwhelming. I know here in Arizona, the temperature's starting to heat up as the federal government is just taking, whether they're vacant hotels or they're bankrupt hotels, they're just taking them and putting thousands of these people in these hotel rooms, and the numbers are mind-boggling. And all of this at a cost. You wouldn't believe what they're paying. And when you think about what they're paying, and it makes what we're doing for our own citizens look like child's play. So anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I want to talk about CBD, the winner. So remember, we were giving away that basket. That thing was awesome. Anybody that ordered online during the month of May got put into a raffle. Joseph Cunningham from Lafayette, Colorado. You are the winner of that basket, and we'll be giving you a call. We'll make arrangements for you to get it. Congratulations. You know what? I got to tell you right now, I got bit. I got a couple of bug bites. You know, we don't get a lot of bugs here, but, you know, before it gets really hot, which it's almost there now, you have a little bit of a bug season. And I got a couple of bug bites. I put that salve on it because that's what Jerry said to do for my kind. Dude, awesome. Check out our CBD products. They can help you. Patriot Radio News Hour. When we get back, I'll tell you about the Yuma border crossing. 800-951-0592. And I know some of you are like, I don't want to hear about the border, whatever. You know, I get it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what the special is right now. Okay, gold has pulled back about $37 today. And really, it started in Europe last night while we were sleeping. A little follow through because, you know, the jobs number of today. Listen, there's going to be even more inflation, but it's got, you know, a little reprieve on the dollar. The gold 1870. Here's what I'll just tell you what I think. This may be the bottom. 1870 is a support level. I think there's a good chance, and I say good, you know, 50-50 chance we could see 1850. Remember, it's when we were going up, right? That was kind of the resistance level, really, I guess, 1847. Because that's going to be the new, what gold's doing right now. This is the new 1670. Remember when gold was right around that 1700 pop up down, and 1670 was that what we call the old bottom support level. You know, just think of it like a stair step. We need to, and this is actually extremely healthy. This is what we want to see. What's the new bottom now? It could be right here today, because that 1870 was a support level. There's 50-50 chance we could see 1850. So you got about a $20 downside. What's the upside? New all-time highs. Is there an outside shot at 1800? Yes, I think that's very unlikely. So I think today, you know what? I'm not risking for $20. And here's the problem. It could hit 1850, and you know how it does. It hits it, and then by the end of the day, right, it's all the way back again, and you miss it. So take advantage of this. I've got it's a great deal. I don't have that many, but it's a great deal. I've got 100 $10 Liberties. Okay, the 1866, 1907 half-ounce Liberties. And they're at 1,050. So that's a huge, huge discount. I mean, yesterday a $10 Liberty was $1,095. So 1,050 today. I've got 100 of them. 800-951-0592. Now that I've got that out of the way, I had a visitor yesterday. had no idea. Well, and I think I knew that he was supposed to go. And they were meeting the Yuma sheriff. This was a planned media event. Okay, so he's a media member. And they were going to the Yuma border crossing. And not, this is where, really simply put, where a large groups are coming through. First thing he showed me was pictures. Because he had his camera, he had his cell phone, and he was taking pictures. The wall they were building, I'll call it the Trump wall. Because it's a huge, and for those of you that have never been to Yuma, okay, Yuma's gotten, I'll say this, Yuma's gotten a lot bigger. You gotta, you can't deny it. But it's loaded with seniors. So like in the wintertime, Yuma's jam-packed because they have a border town there where they all go and get all their prescriptions for, 70% less. So, and seniors that are on, like heart medication, high blood pressure medication, high cholesterol medication, all that stuff. I'm telling you, it's just a huge thing there. Just another thing that's wrong with what's here, but that's by design. Our government actually loves that. They did it on purpose. They deliberately allow the drug companies to charge us more for prescription drugs because, quote unquote, we can afford it. And let the drug makers make a lot more money off of us while charging everybody else less. But neither here nor there. That's a different show. And he said Biden became president, they've totally stopped building the wall. And he actually was showing me pictures. Because all the steel and the girders and it's all there. Just sitting in the desert, just collecting dust. And they have, there's the Colorado River. It's Colorado River, or maybe it's CAP, but there's waters there. Okay, there's water. And the fence, they're trying, building this fence. And the last big section that needed to be done to have this barrier, because then they had some vegetation and stuff that was going to make it hard for them to get through. They put the girders up, but not the steel, so they just walk around it. They essentially get, they left them at the door, right? They didn't even finish it. Just walk around. And he was showing me those pictures. And you think about waste and all this other stuff. But that was the good part of the story. That was the good part of the story. So he's sitting there with the sheriff. And the sheriff points to an individual that's on the Mexico side of the border. And he says, that's their spotter. This is what the sheriff's telling my friend. And my friend's like, spotter? What do you mean, spotter? He goes, his job is to find us. And my friend's like, and I'm like, what? And what they do, his job is to find the border agents, send a group of migrants, and until you walk right to them to tie them up. So okay, here comes a group 4 or 5. So the border agents go, okay, well, we're working on that so they can send the drugs, just out of view of the agents that are now tied up. And the sheriff just flat out just says, yeah, that's what he does. That's his job. We see him every day. He's got binoculars, and he looked, and sure enough, guy's got binoculars looking right at him. And their whole job is to tie up the Border Patrol so they can run drugs, while they're busy. Again, when you're sitting there and saying, the sheriff's like, we know who he is. We know he's a bad guy. But we can't do anything. We know what he's going to do. Once we're spotted by them, we know within the next 30 minutes, we're going to have people that are going to walk right towards us. And guess what? It happened right in front of them. Totally happened. Again, that's not the bad part. Just drugs flowing through. And all this game, the cartel, I don't know if you saw, they've got the drones now. They were outrunning the Tucson PD helicopters and border crossing helicopters. I mean, they've got it all. And he says that they train these people to say a few words. As soon as they get stopped, they all say the same word, asylum. That's what they say, asylum. And they just repeat asylum, asylum, asylum. And the sheriff's like, here's how it works. As soon as they say that word, we get them cleaned up and we feed them. And they're held for 3 days. There's no questions. None. There's no COVID test. They're all worried, COVID vaccinated. I mean, come on. And they also let them pick the city. So this is what they're told. And the sheriff was telling my friend, he goes, and listen, in these groups, what I'll call the non-drug group, are cartel members. And the cartel tells them, here's what you're going to say. Asylum, Dallas. Asylum, Cleveland. Asylum, Seattle. Asylum, Denver. Asylum, Phoenix. They hold them for 3 days, and then they send them to whatever city they had told them. That's how it's working. Now it gets bad. Then he said, women. And this is the sheriff, the Yuma sheriff. Because as he was showing my friend the area, just picture some brush, okay? And empty morning after pills all over the desert. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3. I mean, they're just a littering of them. And I'm like, what? Morning after? And he goes, the traffickers, all the women, they all get raped. The sheriff said that the youngest one that he was a 13-year-old girl. But all of them. And he goes, and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 40, doesn't matter. They all get raped, and they take the morning after pill. That's what it's part of the process. And to see it with your own eyes. Why would we allow for this to happen? But again, they don't want you to know that this is happening. It's wrong. That's horrible. I mean, you think about anybody that's ever had to go through that horrible thing. I mean, it messes you up. Imagine this whole routine I'm telling you about. The guys with the drugs. Here's what's so funny. He shows me a picture. And it's clear. I'm like, shoelaces? That's what I said. Shoelaces? Just strewn on the deck. And he said, yeah. He goes, do you know why? And I'm like, no. Why would there be shoelaces? The cartel lets the drug guys know, if you get caught, we're going to kill you and your family. So when they get apprehended, the sheriff and the border patrol make them take their shoelaces out. Otherwise, they would hang themselves. True story. I'm not making it up. This is what's really happening at the border. I'll finish on the next segment. 800-951-0592. Kind of a different show. Today, a media member friend of mine was at the border last week. And, it's hard to... I'd rather have not have known. I mean, we know. I mean, I don't think any of this surprises anybody, does it? But, you know, when he's telling the story, especially about the morning after pill thing, these guys, it's a sign. That's the price of admission for a female. That's the rate. That's the price. The spotters. Get them occupied with this group while we run the drugs with another group. The drones that they have. The story about the shoelaces. But at the processing facility at Yuma, by the way, the sheriff was telling my friend when Donald Trump was president, media had access. They weren't allowed in. And there's a big wall, you can't see anything. They said that the facility that is there in Yuma was designed to handle 70 to 75 people a day. Because that was about what it used to be. You know, so you think about it, just one place, 75 people a day, that sounds like a lot. You know, if it was, 365 days a year, it's like 27,000 people to be processed. The sheriff and the border patrol told them right now they're doing 500 to 600 a day. 500 to 600 a day. So let's just say it's 550. What used to be 27,000 people at capacity is now over 200,000 people. If you did that every single day, and the sheriff was like, it's every single day. And I'm saying sheriff, but it was sheriff and border patrol. They were together. And this is what's really happening. And again, shame on all media fronts for not having this really brought to light, because this is really the problem. This is nothing more than a major drug trafficking and human trafficking operation. Preying upon, right, the people that can't fight back. And this is the policy that the Biden administration wants us to support. It's crazy. It's first of all, the numbers are overwhelming. and you think about just putting up tents. They're saying it's costing them $200 a person a day. You know, and I'm like, you know, okay, well that's over $100,000 a day just at this one location, every single day. You know, and you're like, where does it end? Where does all of this end? And then what happens? You know, it's not like, you know, no offense, but it's not like electrical engineers, right? IT programmers and college educated people are. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about pretty much people that don't speak English, aren't educated, have no skills, that are totally going to be dependent. And then you think about the scars on top of it. And the part that bothered me the most was they all know how it works. And the cartels and the gangs are telling them, here's what you're going to say, asylum, and you're going to go to this city. And we'll see you at that city. I mean, just setting up, and, you know, you look at the crime that's out of control and defund the police, and you just, the cesspools that are coming. And again, I just felt like I had to share it. This wasn't a, hey, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another, right? No, this wasn't an REO Speedwagon song. And he was saying to me, man, I wish I had taken even more pictures. And I'm like, well, I know, I'm glad you didn't. I don't need to see any more. It was hard to see. And knowing we could do so much better. But nobody wants to. Our government doesn't want to do better. Mexico doesn't want to do better. Honduras and Guatemala and they don't want to do better. This is what they want it to be. Period. Just like COVID, right? Take the freedoms away. This is how they want it to be. Just like I tell you, the digital dollar. Not to get off track on it, but Ray Dalio was out yesterday. Another one of these guys I tell you to pay attention to. You know, people have been trying to downplay the Renminbi, the electronic Renminbi, their central bank digital currency, and he was out saying, "Hey, don't be fooled by this. Is people who are trying to sell you a load of goods, telling you, oh, don't worry, and oh, they're not a threat, and all of this and the other." He said the exact opposite. He said that the yuan, the Chinese renminbi, will be more competitive than the digital dollar. He says that he expects China's currency to become the top reserve currency sooner than expected. And again, the border is just another example. We've lost control here. I don't even know what to say. I don't. And I know that a lot of our friends, because there's, now they're putting them up in hotels in Scottsdale. Right? They're not hiding them down in the barrio in Phoenix. No, they're putting them. They got to put them wherever they can. That's how many of them. Patriot Radio News Hour. When we get back, we'll go back to Ray Dalio and what he was saying about who's going to ultimately be the new reserve currency of the world. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. Incredible. That's about the only. I wish I had a better vocabulary because I really can't express how I feel about it. Just, I don't know. This is what we allow to have happen. Border Patrol, the sheriff, they know. And they're like, this administration, they won't do anything. We can't do anything. We're powerless. And that's how a lot of us feel, right? Powerless. So I'm telling you, it's very important right now to be heavy in your gold holdings. And we've had, you see all the signs, right? It's so funny, they say, oh, we're looking for the signs. They never see them. They're right there in front of our face. But Ray Dalio was on CNBC. And so let me give you a rundown. There's three guys that I tell you to pay attention to on the idiot box. It's funny. It's only three, right? One is Stanley Druckenmiller from Duquesne's. The guy is a genius investor. Very much made his fortune in currencies. That's kind of important, right? How did he become a huge billionaire? Why do billionaires give him their money? He focuses on currency. Remember, what was it, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, as gold started its new run here, he put a number on it, 15 years till the dollar loses reserve currency status. As I said to you already, the IMF, dollar's down to 59% of reserves. You've seen that Russia has now officially gotten out of dollars altogether. Jeffrey Gundlach from Double Line, billionaire. How did he do it? Oh, yeah, that's right. The bond market, right? That's where his focus is. Remember what he said 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. The Fed is telling us inflation's going to run hot. We all know, right? And I'm paraphrasing, but we all know it's actually much more than that. Who in their right mind would be buying U.S. Treasuries right now? Saying that actual real losses, right? It's supposed to work that the Treasury should yield more than inflation. That was the concept behind it. That was what a sound money system would be, where yields are higher than the inflation, so you can always preserve the wealth. He goes, we're nowhere close. Who in their right mind would say and put their hand up and say, yeah, I would like to lose 5% a year or 10% a year, please? Where do I sign up for that? And then, of course, Ray Dalio. What is he? Well, he's just the guy that is the founder of the world's largest hedge fund. So I would say, these are probably three guys we should pay most attention to. He was on CNBC on Monday. Of course, what was Monday? Oh, that's right. Monday was a holiday. Now let's put him on when nobody's watching. Yeah, guess what? I was watching. And here's what he had to say. He says the United States is absolutely going to issue a digital dollar. And he said, listen, it'll be viable, But he says it will not be the most competitive one. With its value being hit by the ever-growing U.S. debt levels. So far, that doesn't sound so good. Remember, the digital dollar is what they're going to use to quote-unquote save us. The digital yuan, on the other hand, the yuan, we know it as the renminbi, will be much more competitive in terms of pricing and returns. It will be a very viable alternative to many investors because it will be accepted internationally and it will come with much more attractive interest rates. So, I'm no genius, but it's just like the Wuhan lab thing. Where did COVID come from? Absolutely, most likely from that lab, of course. Because what were they doing? They were messing around with COVID there. Everybody knew it. That's the most likely possibility. Ray Dalio, Stanley Druckenmiller, Jeffrey Gundlach, they make their money by going with what the most likely possibility is. We're going to enter a world in which people will be thinking which currency, and the ones that have the best fundamentals will be the ones that will be the most competitive. And that is going to be threatening. U.S. $10 liberties. We've already sold 30 of them. We had 100 of them. Buy this pullback. They're 1,050 at 800-951-0592. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Gold's down 37. And again, as I said at the beginning of the program, downside risk is maybe, I think it's $20. This may be it here because this 1870s is support level. 1850 is probably the new 1670. 1800s is very unlikely. And then what's the upside? And the upside's new all-time highs. So take advantage of this pullback today. Get in. Don't try to catch that by, and again, trying to catch the bottom. As we know, we've seen gold. Maybe it'll hit 1850, boom, and then 20 minutes later, it's already back and running again. The remaining U.S. $10 liberties, and this is the lead pipe lock of the week here. $10 liberties, 1,050 at 800-951-0592. We got two lines open. Ray Dalio, CNBC, Monday. Talking about the Chinese renminbi, and I'm going to finish with this. He expects the renminbi to become the top reserved currency sooner than expected. And of course now, the people I'm telling you, most people tell you, oh, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're communists. It can't happen. It's going to happen. He goes on. China is the world's largest trading nation, meaning it's the number one country in exports and imports. How did we become the number one? Oh, that's right. Remember? We used to run massive trade surpluses. That's how we became the superpower. Dalio expects even more trade, more financial transactions in renminbi. You're going to see the renminbi become more significant. A strong currency, a stable currency, a more attractive returning currency, and also more widely used currency in the year ahead. Matter of fact, look at it. All week this week, China's been trying to keep the yuan keeps rising, and China's trying to, limit that a little bit. They don't want it to be too strong. Currently, the dollar, the world's largest reserve currency, at 59%. Dalio expects the yuan's share to increase to 15% in the next 5 years. 10 at the most. 15%. They were zero in 2016. They weren't even in the basket of currencies. All of that coming from the dollar. So you think about, that's another 13% from where they are today. It's going to happen faster than people expect. A lot has to do not just what China does. It has to do what the dollar does. And of course, Dalio is saying, listen, just like I've been telling you, the dollar's not running. Right? The dollar's back in this down trough, and rightfully so. Drowning by debt. We're not responding to inflation. We're not trying to even fight the inflation now. And he said that the digital renminbi, it will compete with Bitcoin and any other alternative currency. It's not going to completely take it over. Nothing ever completely takes over anything. So there's your ray of hope. It's not going to be a total domination, just mostly dominant. $10 liberties, 1,050. Buy the dips from this dip. Listen, I'm a dip, but I'm smart enough to know common sense. God bless everybody. Tomorrow will be all business.